Alright, welcome back. It's BudSkywalker back here, and today I have made a maze in Minecraft. I went through several different ways on how to make it work, but I came up with a pretty simple way to make it work. And I'll just right now take the time to pause and say the reason I'm getting about 100 frames while recording is because I finally got my new laptop today, and the specs are now in my channel description. So, what we have here is the good old fill clock. So these command blocks are filling this 3 times for every 1 tick, 6 times every redstone tick. So a repeater on 1 delay. This will run 6 times before the repeater will finish. And this will run 3 times before a comparator will trigger. So, I'm going to try to explain the mechanics before I go through the maze. So, let's go. Excuse me. Okay, so first thing that happens when we are in here, the maze lobby, is we'll step on these pressure plates. And these pressure plates will activate these command blocks, which will set your maze score to 1. And I'm just realizing that this should be like that. So, I step on these pressure plates, sets my maze score to 1. Now I'm just gonna press this button to get off the maze team. But when your maze score is set to 1, then this command block is constantly looking for a player who has a maze score of 1, and it'll affect them with slowness for 1 second amplified 4, so slowness 5 for 1 second, which this runs, I don't know, I think 6 times a second, because I think a redstone tick is 1 second. No, 4 redstone ticks is 1 second. And it runs 24 times per 4 redstone ticks. So this is running 24 times a second. So you're always getting slowness when you're on the team. And then this command block is executing, so it's looking for a player with a maze score of 1. If it can find that, it is setting the block 3 blocks underneath them, so 3 blocks in the negative y direction with a redstone block. And let me show you why this works. This works because underneath the maze, I have all these command blocks. And here in the middle, the reason I don't have them is that's the path that I want them to take to get here to the end of the maze. So all you have to do is press this button. Oh. That's the mechanic I'm going to get into in a second. But we press that button, and it sets it fills this whole area with command blocks. And then you can just punch out whatever course you want the player to take to get to the end. In this case, I'm just trying to show you a tutorial, so I just want all the command blocks down the middle. So 3 blocks underneath you is 1 block above these command blocks. So I'll actually kind of run through the maze now. When I hit these pressure plates, I get a maze score of 1, and I can just walk down the middle here, and you can see that there is in fact redstone blocks underneath me. And I see when I step over here, a redstone block will go on top. redstone block will go one block above this these command blocks, which have the score, which will set my Ron score to 1. So let me just do that real quick. So when my Ron score was set to 1, it told me that's not how you do it. Teleported me back here, and actually if I get off the maze team, we can actually see there is no redstone blocks except for this block, which is where I was standing. There are no redstone blocks underneath it because it also fills that area with air. So now here's spawn. So the reason that works is these 4 command blocks here. So I'll start at the bottom, or I'll start at the middle. So this command block is looking for a player with a Ron score of 1. And if it can find that, it's just teleporting the player to the coordinates back to the beginning of the maze. If this command block can find a player with a Ron score of 1, it'll fill that whole area underneath with air, clearing out all the redstone blocks. This command block, you can probably guess, it's just looking for a player with a Ron score of 1 and saying that's not how you do it. Now, when that happens, it'll power this comparator, which will power this command block, which will look for anyone with a Ron score of 1 and turn it to a Ron score of 0. So I hope that makes sense to you. That's why it goes 3 times, because this clock runs 3 times before this command block can recognize it. Okay, there. I don't know why I was having a leg spike, but anyway. Now this whole part is complicated, but I'll try to explain it the best I can. So when you walk into the maze, your maze score is set to 1. We've gone over that a couple of times now. And when I run down the middle of the maze and step on this pressure plate, then I'll set my win score to 1. And when it does, it'll trigger fireworks back and forth, these 2 sides at the same time and those 2 sides at the same time, for a little period of time, not too long, just about that long, and then stops. So I'm gonna try to go back to spawn and explain why that works. So this command block is this one's the simplest one, sadly. It looks for a player with a win score of 1, and if it finds that, it'll look for a player with a maze score of 1. So if your win score and maze score are 1, it'll teleport you back to the beginning of the maze. Pretty simple, kinda. Also, if it finds your win score and your maze score 1, it'll say you won, which just activates a couple of times because I use a different method of stopping it, and that's this command block. So this command block, if it finds a player with a win score of 1 and a player with a maze score of 1, it'll set block right here where the stone block is. It'll make that a redstone block. When that happens, it'll set your win score to 0, it'll set your maze score to 0, and it'll also set a redstone block at those coordinates, which is, if I come over here, right here above this piston. So if I grab a redstone block, it sets this block with the redstone block. And the reason that works is, well, how it works, not the reason it works, is this piston pushes these slime blocks which are connected to these rails onto these redstone blocks, activating the rails, which make the minecart go back and forth onto these detector rails, running this big, long, complicated command. I use the generator because I don't know who really wants to just type all this out by hand. I certainly don't. If you just Google Minecraft fireworks generator, you'll be able to find it. So this block is set right here, pushing that piston out. Also powering this trail of redstone, pushing this piston out at the same time because there's no repeater. And then if we go back to spawn here, there's one command block I didn't go over, this command block. It just sets that block back to stone. And then, so it sets the block there with redstone. And after this big, long repeater delay, which is actually a pretty nice time I found, it'll stop fireworks by just setting that block to air. I hope that you were able to kind of follow along. This map's link will be in the description if you want to download it, maybe improve it, if you want to try to figure the commands out better. Then I could explain, which is not very good. Please feel free to do so. If you enjoyed, please leave a like. If you're new, subscribe. And remember, once a gamer, always a gamer.